Hi everyone, this is the Nordic Venture Show, your guide to the exciting world of Nordic startups and venture capital. In today's episode, we're exploring a startup called Solid Therapeutics.
All right, everybody, get ready, because today's deep dive is taking us straight to the heart of the biotech world with Solid Therapeutics.
A company you might not have heard of yet, but trust me, they're doing some really interesting things, especially when it comes to this whole new wave of cancer treatment.
And what better place to start our deep dive than their LinkedIn page? You'd be surprised what you can learn from a company's social media race.
Absolutely. It's like a window into their world. And Solid's LinkedIn is surprisingly insightful. They're clearly not afraid to toot their own horn a little, which, you know what? In this competitive field.
Sometimes you got to be your own hype man.
Yeah.
But let's get down to brass tacks here. Solid Therapeutics, they're an early-stage oncology company based in Copenhagen.
And they're laser focused on developing new ways to treat solid tumors, which is no easy feat, let me tell you.
Yeah, solid tumors, those are kind of the big bad in the oncology world, aren't they?
Exactly. They can be incredibly difficult to treat. But what's exciting about Solid is their dual action approach. They're not just going after the cancer cells themselves, but also trying to rally the body's own defenses.
So kind of like a 1-2 punch.
Yeah.
Hitting cancer from multiple angles.
Exactly. It's this two-pronged strategy that really sets them apart. On the one hand, they're developing therapies that directly target tumor cells, and on the other, they're looking at ways to enhance the immune system's ability to recognize and destroy those same cells.
So it's like giving the body's natural defenses a serious upgrade. That's fascinating.
It is. And it speaks to a larger trend in oncology, this move towards immunotherapy, harnessing the power of the immune system to fight cancer from within.
And it seems like Solid has attracted some serious talent to lead this charge. Their LinkedIn gives us a glimpse of the team, and these folks are no slouches.
Not at all. We're talking industry veterans like Thomas Vermeer, he's got a background at Novo Nordisk, and Klaus Haas, who comes from Symphogen. These are big names in pharma.
So the fact that they're choosing to join a smaller company like Solid speaks volumes about the potential they see there.
Right. It's like they're saying, we've been in the big leagues and we're betting on this team to make a real breakthrough.
And speaking of betting on the future, Solid's LinkedIn also highlights their commitment to nurturing new talent. I loved those posts about Sophie L. and Eliana Goncalves Alves receiving funding for their industrial PhDs.
Yeah, that's a great example of how Solid is investing in the next generation of scientists, creating an environment where innovation can flourish.
It's like they're building a whole army of cancer-fighting PhDs. I love it.
And armies need funding, which Solid seems to have secured from some pretty impressive sources. We see mentions of support from the Innovation Fund Denmark and the Export and Investment Fund of Denmark.
aka EIFO.
Yeah.
And these aren't just small grants, are they?
Not at all. We're talking significant investments from organizations that clearly see the potential of Solid's work. And it's not just about the money itself, it's the validation it represents. Having these kinds of institutions back you up.
It's like a stamp of approval, right?
Right.
A signal to the rest of the biotech world that Solid is onto something big.
Exactly. It lends credibility and helps attract even more investment, which is crucial for a company at this stage of development.
So they've got the vision, they've got the team, they've got the cash. But what I find really refreshing about Solid's LinkedIn is the glimpse it gives us into their company culture.
Oh, absolutely. This is something they do really well. They're not just all about the science. They're showing us that they're a company made up of real people, passionate people.
And they're not afraid to have a little fun along the way.
Right. Remember those pictures from their team outing? Out there enjoying the sunshine, having a laugh.
Not your typical stuffy biotech company image, that's for sure.
And I think that's a smart move on their part. It humanizes the whole endeavor, makes them feel more approachable, both to potential investors and to future patients.
Because ultimately it's about trust, isn't it?
Yeah.
People want to know that the company developing their potential treatment is made up of good people, people who genuinely care.
And I think Solid's LinkedIn does a great job of conveying that. They're transparent about their work, they celebrate their successes, and they're clearly invested in creating a positive and supportive work environment.
And that's just good business, honestly. Happy employees are productive employees. And in a field as demanding as this one, you need all the brain power and positive energy you can get.
Absolutely. And it's clear that Solid understands that. They're not just building a company, they're building a community, a team of passionate individuals dedicated to making a real difference in the fight against cancer.
And that, my friends, is a story worth following. Okay, so we've talked about their vision, the team, the funding, but what about the actual science? What's the secret sauce behind Solid's dual action approach?
Well, their LinkedIn actually gives us some pretty good clues. Remember that post about the InnoBooster grant?
Yeah, something about HCR1 antagonists.
Mm.
Honestly, I'm not even going to try to pronounce that, but it sounds important.
It is, and it's actually not as complicated as it sounds. Basically, our cells have these things called receptors on their surface. Think of them like a little antenna that pick up signals.
Okay, I'm following.
And HCR1 is one specific type of receptor found on certain immune cells. Now, an antagonist is like a blocker for that antenna. It prevents it from receiving certain signals that might be, let's say, holding the immune system back from attacking cancer cells.
So it's like cutting the brakes on the immune system, allowing it to go full throttle after those cancer cells?
Exactly. And this InnoBooster grant is specifically for Solid to develop and test these HCR1 antagonists. So it's a big deal for their research.
That makes sense because we know time is of the essence when it comes to developing new treatments. Every day counts.
Absolutely. And this is where Solid's approach gets really interesting. They're not just trying to find the next big cancer-killing drug. They're trying to understand the intricate relationship between tumors and the immune system and how to tip the scales in our favor.
It's like they're playing 3D chess while everyone else is stuck on checkers.
I like that analogy. But this kind of cutting-edge research requires serious funding, which is why those announcements about support from organizations like the Innovation Fund, Denmark, and EIFO are so important.
It's not just about the money itself, it's about what it represents, right?
Yeah.
A vote of confidence from some major players in the field.
Exactly. These organizations don't just throw money at any project. They have experts who rigorously evaluate the science, the potential impact, and having their backing is a huge signal to the rest of the world that Solid is onto something special.
It's like having a panel of scientific rock stars saying, yeah, we believe in this team, they're the real deal.
And speaking of the team, can we just talk about how Solid showcases their company culture on LinkedIn? It's not just about the science, it's about the people.
I know, right? Those pictures from their team offsite were awesome. They were out there enjoying the sunshine, laughing. It's not what you typically picture when you think of a high-pressure biotech company.
And I think that's so important. You can't expect people to perform at their best, to be innovative, to make breakthroughs, if they're constantly stressed out and overworked.
It's like that old saying, all work and no play makes Jack a dull boy.
Exactly. A positive and supportive work environment is crucial for innovation, and Solid seems to understand that. And
Yeah.
you see that reflected in everything they do,
Right.
from celebrating individual achievements, like Sophie L's PhD funding,
To that really cool post about their open hiring process for a head of cancer pharmacology, they were very transparent about the whole thing.
and that transparency is huge. It builds trust, not just with potential investors, but with the scientific community as a whole.
Because at the end of the day, science is a collaborative effort. Right?
Yeah.
It's about sharing knowledge, supporting each other, and working towards a common goal.
Absolutely. And Solid seems to get that. They're not just trying to sell us on their science, they're inviting us to be a part of their journey, to share in their passion for making a real difference in the fight against cancer.
And that's a powerful message. So we've gone deep on the science, met, at least virtually, the brains behind it all, and gotten a feel for Solid's company culture.
And what's striking, at least to me, is how well they weave it all together. This isn't just a company with good science. They're telling a story, building a narrative that really resonates.
It's like they've cracked the code on how to make complex science engaging, accessible, even inspiring.
Exactly. And that's so important, especially in oncology, where there's so much hope, but also so much complexity.
People crave that hope, but they want to understand it too, and Solid seems to get that.
Yeah, they're not shying away from the science, but they're not burying you in jargon either. It's a tough balance to strike.
It really is, but it all comes down to trust, right?
Yeah,
We're investing in people as much as anything else.
absolutely. And Solid's LinkedIn does a brilliant job of humanizing what they do. These aren't just lab coats in a sterile environment. They're passionate people.
Right. You can feel that passion in every post, every picture, every announcement.
And that brings us to a crucial point. Solid's story is still being written. They're a young company in a field with, let's be honest, a lot of unknowns.
But they seem ready to take on those unknowns, wouldn't you say?
Yeah.
The vision is there, the team, the resources, and that belief.
Absolutely. It's what makes this deep dive so fascinating. We're not analyzing a finished product. We're seeing the early stages of something potentially groundbreaking.
It's like we got a sneak peek at the blueprints for a revolution in cancer treatment. And while it's too early to call it, Solid Therapeutics is definitely a company to watch.
Couldn't agree more. And for our listeners, think about the bigger picture here. If Solid's dual action approach works, what could that mean for other diseases? Could this be the spark for a whole new era of personalized medicine where we're not just treating symptoms, but empowering the body to heal itself? Exciting stuff, and only time will tell what the future holds.
It's like they've opened a door to a whole new world of possibilities. So there you have it, our deep dive into Solid Therapeutics, a company that's not just changing the face of cancer treatment, but redefining what it means to be a force for good in the 21st century.
And the takeaway: never underestimate the power of a good idea, a dedicated team, and a whole lot of heart.
Beautifully said. Until next time, keep exploring, keep asking questions, and never stop believing in the power of human ingenuity to make the world a better place.
Thanks for listening to the Nordic Venture Show. Don't forget to subscribe and stay tuned for more stories of innovation from the Nordics.